Hey, for those of you who do not know me, I'm Renee, also known as Miss HG Mercury from the Sunshine Coast Pinup School. I'm a vintage stylist and a pinup photographer, and today I'm going to be answering some of the questions that you all have for me. They're business, personal, and of course pinup, so let's go. So a couple of weeks ago, I put out a Q&A post on my Instagram stories, and I got a few questions in, some of them directly from there and some of them through personal messages and emails, because I said that I would keep all of your questions completely anonymous. So when I am asking these questions, I will just be typing them up and putting them up on the screen here so that you can read through, and then I will be giving my answers. Now there is a good round 10. So there's 10 questions here. If there are any questions that you really want to ask me or really want to know about, obviously not inappropriate, but leave them in the comments below, and then maybe if we have enough, then I can do a part 2 of this. But it's really interesting to see what type of questions everybody has. Some of them were just, wanting to know a little bit more about me, general pinup questions, and then there was also one from another fellow business owner. So that is really good. I like this big broad aspect of it. So let's dive straight in. Any questions that have that I link or I mention things to, I will leave in the description box below under the question and what I mentioned to, whether it's to a blog or to an external link or anything like that. Just go down to the description box. So let's get started. I want to start dressing pinup but don't have the funds to buy a whole new wardrobe right away. What do you suggest you start with? Yes, it does take time. Nobody wakes up and decides that they want to dress in a vintage aesthetic and suddenly throw out all their clothes and start from scratch. Some people do, but it is not a sustainable or affordable way to go about that. I do have an online course, Curate Your Wardrobe, which will help you establish what your style is and what you want to achieve within a vintage aesthetic, and then how to identify and find clothing that's going to fit in with your lifestyle and etc. So there's a link below for that. But I would suggest, if you want to start adding a touch of retro, getting a little bit of vintage vibes into your daily looks, I highly suggest start with hair accessories. Flowers, scarves, even just a t-shirt and jeans with a scarf can give you a really big retro vibe, especially if you're not used to it or people aren't used to seeing you in that way. Starting with a hair accessory is a really great way for you to get used to it. And what comes with pinup styling and vintage styling is people are going to look, because you look fabulous, and people are going to look. You're going to get more stares, and sometimes just having a headscarf on, or in summer or in spring, and just having some hair flowers in can really elevate your look, and it can also make you stand out in public. So it's a really good stepping stone to start off with those hair accessories, to get comfortable having people admire how you look if that is not what you are used to. What do your tattoos mean, and do you have any more? So you can see 2 of my stamps in my videos. My apple I have had for a number of years. It is actually a tribute to my nan. I will insert a picture. I actually took my nan and pop with me when I went and got this done. We are from Tasmania originally, the apple state of Australia, and my nan always used to sing the Andrews Sisters, "Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me." So I got this here. I look at it every day that I brush my teeth in the mirror, and I'm thankful for all the lessons that my nan taught me. We also share the birthday, so she is very special to me, and now that she is no longer with us, I have this constant reminder of this amazing person I was so privileged to have in my life. And then this one, which is kind of hard to see when I'm doing stuff, but it is, let me see if I can get up. It is a Lego Stormtrooper. Imperial. It is a Lego Imperial Stormtrooper. So we are big Star Wars fans. in my family, and Lego Star Wars is just a big thing that brought us all together in my family, and I just wanted something to symbolize that. And I did try to get him as close to actual minifigure scale. So yeah, I love it. That's my newest tattoo. My first tattoo I ever got was true Australian bogan style. It is a Southern Cross, and it's on my hip. I don't know if I have any photos. If I do, maybe in my swimwear, I might be able to have a little glimpse of it. And then I also do have one on my foot, which is 3 hearts for my mum, my dad, and my sister. So just little stamps that I have. I may continue to grow, but all of my little stamps do mean something to me. So yeah. Where do I start if I want to get into pinup competitions, and is there a place I can find info? So pinup competitions, if some people watching aren't aware, they are like a pageant, a competition, so a fashions on the field, event that is normally held at car shows and rockabilly and custom culture festivals. And they're sort of like a step up from a fashions on the field. So a pinup competition and a pinup pageant is a preempted entertainment show. So you enter into, usually you enter into the competition, get shortlisted and picked, and then there's normally a theme which would match whatever the theme is of that car show, or there are multiple categories like swimwear, daywear, evening wear, and you are a group of pinups and vintage enthusiasts that are putting on a show for an audience, and it's about showcasing your pinup personality, being on stage. You can do like little routines and props and stuff. So there's lots of different aspects of a pinup pageant and a pinup competition. So if that sounds like something that you want to get into, it's a really great confidence boost. It's also a really great way to meet like-minded people. So you've got the lead up to the competition, you've got all the backstage antics. Some of my best friends that I've met within pinup, I met backstage at a pinup competition. So yeah, they're really great to, you know, be in a really close-knit like you're all forced to be together before the competition, during the competition, and it's a great way to meet people if you're a bit too shy walking around at a car show to introduce yourself to somebody else. So to find information on when and where these pageants take place, you can look for car shows, show and shines, rockabilly, custom culture events, or vintage, sometimes even like vintage fairs as well. We'll sometimes have a vintage parade. You can look at those events and then go on their websites, on their Facebook pages, or whatever media that they have, and see if they have a competition linked to it. Another way is there are various Facebook groups, especially in Australia. I don't know other parts of the world, but there are various Facebook groups for your area. So I've got like Queensland Pinups and stuff like that near me. And normally the event organizers or the pageant hosts and organizers will post on those social media platforms that their entries are open, that they're looking for contestants. So that is a good way. Just start doing a big broad search for shows in your area, and then narrow it down and try to find, so you can travel for them, but yeah, try to find pageants within your area and ones that you want to enter, that the events that align with your aesthetics or align with your ideals. And if you can search on YouTube here, Miss Monmon, a Perth pinup, is a beautiful, I have had the privilege of seeing her on stage. I have been a pinup judge, a host, a contestant, and an organizer for pinup pageants. And yeah, Miss Monmon I know has a really great video on posing and stage presence and stuff for pinup pageants. But yeah, just do a search on YouTube. You can get tips and tricks on how to craft your performance. And then I also do have a blog, which I will link down below, on 5 things I wish I knew about pinup pageants. So go check that out. And if this is a topic that you want me to talk more about, just let me know in the comments. Why do you not ship internationally? Weekly, I will get an email from someone, normally in the US or the UK, why I don't ship my physical products, so you know, Grip-Tuth Comb, setting lotion, scarves, all of that, why I don't ship internationally. I ship only within Australia and New Zealand, and the reason is because I source a lot of my stuff internationally. So if you are in a country and that's exactly like the US, and that's exactly where I source it, I can give you a link to find it within your area. There is no point on me shipping something, extortionate shipping costs, oh my God, to Australia. Shipping something from the US to Australia and then me shipping it over to you when you could have just got it in your own backyard. I do ship within Australasia on a custom quote. I've shipped to Japan and Thailand before. So if you are within Australasia, just send me an email and I can do up a custom quote for you if you really want something from my shop. I do also have digital products with my online courses. So yeah, that is why I do not ship internationally. But if you did want to support me and my business, the channel, whatever, I do have affiliate links for things that I do not personally stock, but you may be able to get anywhere in the world. So if you see me mention anything and there is a link, it is probably an affiliate link where I will get a small commission if you do purchase from that link. And that's sort of as a thank you for me sending you in the right direction. Tips and tricks for very fine, sparse hair. Okay, so for this one, I am going to bring in a model. So these hair models are, by the way, the worst. They have the thickest hair ever. Really thick horse hair, basically. But if you have really fine, sparse hair, I'm sorry if you look at my really thick hair. I struggle with thick hair. And you want to do some of the like big voluminous styles. First tips I would give you would be, invest in volumizing products. So, your volumizing shampoo and conditioner, blow drying your hair upside down will add a lot of volume. Use really gentle, so while I say volumizing hair, like shampoo and conditioner, you also use really gentle products for your hair because you don't want your hair falling out. Same with your brushes and your combs. Make sure they're nice and clean, that they're not going to be snagging your hair, because if you've got fine, sparse hair, you don't really want to be losing more than what you would normally lose in your daily hair shedding. So I will put a picture of a hairstyle that I did, and this lovely lady had one of the finest hairs I have ever worked with, but you wouldn't be able to tell from that picture. When it was in a ponytail, it was about that, probably about that thin, so it was quite thin, and so it all comes down to teasing. So say this is your hair, you want to make sure that you tease your hair correctly. Say if you're wanting to do vintage styles and add volume to your styles, there is a blog that I will link for this question on will teasing damage my hair and how to do it safely. So keep your top layer, so no matter how thin and fine your hair is, keep your top layer nice and smooth. And then you're going to be teasing that bottom layer. And you can use volumizing powders, you can use a little bit of hairspray, and that will really add that volume to your hair. Now remember, if you're teasing fine sparse hair, make sure you do it correctly. Go read that blog and make sure you're doing it correctly so you don't do any damage to your hair, and when you take out your hairstyle, you're not losing more hair than what you would normally do when you brush it. So you've got a teased layer and then you have a smooth layer, and then that's where your smoothing comes in. And then it's kind of to give the impression that you have thick hair, you are going to need to have a little bit of a rat's nest underneath, and that's just part of styling. That's part of what it is. But you can already see how thick and voluminous that bit of hair looks. It's nice and smooth on top. Underneath you've got that tease that's going to be holding that volume for you as well, so it's not going to fall limp throughout the day. But yeah, so make sure that you are teasing correctly, using all of your products to try to add a little bit more volume and help your hair along, and you're going to be able to get styles that aren't going to be as huge and voluminous as something that, say, I can do with my long thick hair, but you are going to get something that is going to sit nicely on your head. Say if you've got, a couple of sparse bits and bald patches, you're going to be able to hide those areas, and you're going to have a more overall Nice hairstyle. What is your favorite movie of all time? Of all time, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes with Jane Russell and Marilyn Monroe. I grew up with Elvis and Marilyn movies from my pop, and that is one of my favorites. And if you watch that now, like now that I know about vintage styling and wet sets and the life cycle of a wet set, if you watch that, Marilyn has a 3-day wet set. So they're like, the main part of the movie is they're on a ship, a cruise ship or whatever, and she has like a really tight set, and then it's more brushed out the next day, and then the next day it's like a really, like almost like a page boy, so really flat and just a little curl under, and then the next day in the timeline of the movie she's got a really tight set again. So she had a 3-day curl set in that movie, and I just think that's just like full nerd. I love it. But if you had to ask me what movie I know all the words to, that would be Josie and the Pussycats. Our favorite band / music. So if you went onto my Spotify, it would probably be 2000s R&B, and the soundtracks to Fast and the Furious, because that's what we listen to as a family in the car. The most played album probably ever in my whole life is the Hamilton Broadway musical soundtrack. I know every word of that. One of my favorites, but my favorite band of all time would be the Arctic Monkeys. I grew up as a rock chick. I grew up with AC/DC and Kiss, and I played guitar, and I always wanted to be a rock star when I was growing up, and I love I love that classic rock sound, and I love the Arctic Monkeys. I have seen them twice in concert and have all their albums, so yes. What business tools can you not live without? Fellow SBO, small business owner here. So I have been in business for the Sunshine Coast Pinup School since 2017. And like obviously the 3 essentials, that would be, you know, your website, email marketing, and accounting. So for accounting, I use Xero, just what my accountant got me on. Email marketing, I originally started with MailChimp, and then I think 2 years ago, I flicked over to Flowdesk, and I love the look and aesthetic of the emails with Flowdesk. And then my website is Shopify. Originally it was Wix when I first started, and then just like a year and a half, 2 years after that, I switched over to Shopify. So because I had more integrations, I was able to do Afterpay, an online booking system, and also it helps me host my Thinkific online courses directly through the shop. And then what tools that I can't live without, I would have to say Canva. Canva is awesome. I do like most of my graphic design stuff, like all these thumbnails and anything that you see on social media, that's all done through Canva. And also Trello. Trello is my brain saver, so it helps me brain dump all of these ideas, and also, you know, to-do lists in general life. You know, make sure I go grocery shopping and pay bills, and it just helps me organize and compartmentalize everything that happens in my head, and set due dates, and just helps me project manage and keep myself on track. Do you have any pets? Yes, I do. Some of them may have, well, one of them may have appeared a few times on my social media and on Instagram, and that is my white bulldog Staffy Enslow. He is an absolute sweetheart and we love him. We also do have a border collie Shar-Pei named Shep. They are both rescues. Shep's a little more camera shy. And then we also do have a turtle who was also surrendered to us. And lucky last, do you need a pinup name to be considered a real pinup? Now this comes back into pinup pageants as well. I never had a pinup name. You hear me say at the start, I'm Renae, also known as Miss HG Mercury. HG Mercury is my pinup name, Renae is my real name. You can have a pinup name, and that sort of just comes into social media accounts. If you want to have a alter ego persona to protect your own personal identity, you can come up with a name. I do have a little bit in my ebook, Beginner's Guide to Pinup, on how to come up with your name and how I came up with my name. Have guesses down below in the comments as to why you think my pinup name is Miss HG Mercury, and I'll give you extra points for that. And yeah, so do you need a pinup name to be a real pinup? No. You do need it if you're going to enter competitions, because the host will be like, and welcome to the stage. They won't go, and welcome to the stage, Renae. They'll go, and welcome to the stage, Miss HG Mercury. And you have just a little bit more of a, you know, a stage presence with a stage name. It's basically a stage name. But to be a real pinup, you are a real pinup if you like the style, you do, you know, your hair and makeup, you follow the vintage aesthetic. That is pinup. Like, you know, you don't have to, if you don't have a name, if someone goes, oh, what's your pinup name? And you can be like, well, my name is this. You can use your real name, and pinup names are basically just used as a stage name and as a way to protect your personal identity, which, like a few years ago, Facebook had a hissy fit about that when people had a Facebook account with their pinup name that wasn't actually their birth legal name. So I don't know how that goes now, but yeah, so that is why. And you are a pinup if you believe you are a pinup and you love the style and the fashion, and you are here watching videos from me from the Sunshine Coast Pinup School. You are a pinup, sister. So I hope I answered maybe a question that you had been thinking about. If you have any further questions, just leave a comment. If we've got enough, then I will make a part 2 to answer your questions. You can always just send me a message on Instagram. I'm most active on there, Instagram or Facebook, just at Sunshine Coast Pinup School. And yeah, so that is me. Thank you for coming to the channel. If you like pinup and vintage and all things retro, make sure you stick around and subscribe and like this video and sign up for notifications, and then you will be notified when I upload a new video most Fridays. Don't forget to follow along on the socials, and I will see you next time.